Hello everyone. Today we got the JL Audio RD400 400 watt 4-channel amplifier. Stay tuned. Alright guys, upon getting this amplifier, you're going to notice that the packaging is very nice, it's very sleek. It's got like a black matte look to it. It just looks very clean. And then it's just got blue here, which blends in with the backlit light that the amplifier puts out. It's pretty bright, but not super bright. It has a good ambiance to it. So let's talk about the specs. Like we said, it's already a 400 watt amplifier, a full range amplifier. You can use it for subs, like if you wanted the bridge channels 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. This is a Class D amplifier. Let's look at the specs real quick. So 400 watts, 4-channel Class D amplifier. Not to mention this does have the Next D Gen technology, which is basically makes the amplifier run even more efficient than regular Class D amplifiers. Most of the JL Audio amplifiers do have this technology. It is a newer technology, so you'll have it in the JD, the RDs, VXIs, I'm sure have it. But continuous power, 14.4 volts at 1% THD, and that's 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. This is not a high-res amplifier, but nobody can hear past 20 hertz anyways, besides babies. Anyways, 100 watts by 4 at 2 ohms, and 75 watts by 4 at 4 ohms, and 200 watts by 2 at 4 ohms bridge. So that's 1 and 2 bridge, 200 watts, 3 and 4 bridge, 200 watts. Now, this is a very efficient amplifier. I've run it for a couple months, and it's actually I've run it pretty hard, and it takes a lot for it to get warm. I've never felt this amplifier get hot compared to my audio control amplifiers. They do tend to get a little warm, but none of my amplifiers really run hot. So, but if I were to say, this is probably one of the coolest running amplifiers that I've ever had. So this is the step up, the brother to the JD, which is the old JX. Let me tell you why you would want to choose this amplifier from the JD to the RD. But for that, we're gonna have to open it up. And I think that next gen D technology has to do with the amount of power you're supplying it. So you don't have to give it like 14.4 volts all the time to make it run efficiently. It can take, lower voltages and still perform very well. Here's the amplifier. When you open the box, you are going to get an owner's manual. You're going to get the Allen key, and you're going to get this emblem, which this emblem is part of the cover here. This cover has some holes right there. And basically, that covers up the crossovers and all that. So if you mount your amplifier like this, you can set your logo like that. If you got it maybe mounted like that and you wanted your logo to face backwards, you could do that as well. That's why they give you the logo to separately install. That way you can install it which way. Technically, I guess if it didn't have this notch, you could just turn it whatever way you wanted, but it does have that little indentation there, which gives you the blue LED lighting. It's got a really nice ambiance. So anyways, let's look at the settings we have here. So we have our 12 volts DC, we have our ground, and our remote. This is also, it's got different turn on modes. So if you don't have a remote wire or don't want to run one, you could technically use DC offset or signal. So You can set it up to where your head unit, it senses the head unit turning on or sending signal to the speakers, DC offset, anything of that nature. You can turn this amplifier on without having a remote wire, but I pull mine anyways because I'm already pulling RCAs, so what the hell. You got your input voltage, so it's low and high. If you got aftermarket head unit, you would go low, and if you got factory radio, you would go high. If you're using the speaker leads, which you would need to get the RCAs and then cut them and then tie those to your speaker leads. Unlike the other amplifiers like Audio Control that actually have terminal blocks where you can land your speaker wires directly onto them, so that might be a con. You have to get RCAs, cut them, strip them, cut them, solder them or crimp them together. It might look a little tacky unless you have just an aftermarket head unit, and you could just use the RCAs. In that case, it looks cleaner. But or you could just, I don't know, use a DSP, and then from the DSP come in. So input voltage, you can set this as, like we said, like a 2-channel or 4-channel amplifier, and you can bridge these 2 channels. One thing I will say, you got to pay attention to the positive negatives down here. Not really this one, but the RD400s and 1000s, it'll have like positive negative, and you're thinking, well, this is positive and negative. It's not. So input type, stereo or mono. You got your gain, and what's cool about this amplifier, it's got a clip light. So if you run 1000 hertz test tone, turn up your radio when you have this down at 0, and when that clip light goes off, turn it back down a notch and start turning your gain up again until that yellow light comes on. And when it comes on, turn it down a hair, and once that light goes away, then your gains have been set. It makes setting up your gains so much easier. It protects your equipment. You don't have to worry about blowing anything up. So that's pretty cool. We have filter mode. So we do have a high pass and a low pass filter. So if you're running component speakers, maybe, and you can also give it a full range signal. So if you're using passive crossovers, but in this situation, let's say I was running a mid bass on 1 and 2, I could go low pass, maybe set it to 500 hertz, and then I had some tweeters or mid-range or something, I could set that on the high pass at 500 hertz. So it all depends what you want to do, or you could put a, full range signal to them. So that's the amplifier in a nutshell. It's very compact compared to the JD. Like I said, it's gonna compare this to the JD. Why would you want to choose this over the JD? The footprint is smaller. It doesn't weigh as much, I don't think. It's not a big difference, but if that matters to you, the JD also has the terminals on one side and on the other side. So you have your RCAs over here, and then you have your speaker lead outputs and power wire and all that over here. I'll post a picture right here. Anyways, with that being said, this is a little bit more money. They both put out the same amount of power. They both have the next D technology, but I like this because of the look, the black stainless, the blue black light, which also the JD comes with. The smaller footprint, I had to try to put this under the seat, and then also I have my wires coming out of one part of the carpet underneath the floor, so all my wires came out and just terminated. I didn't have to find extra slack and then try to run them over here, or get my amplifier rack and then try to zip tie everything and then make it. Everything just comes in straight in. It's very clean. It looks very nice, very professional. But if you're interested in this amplifier, I highly recommend it. It's a great amplifier, very efficient. For the price point, you can't get a better amplifier as far as 4-channel. One thing I do wish it had, I wish it had 100 watts at 4 ohms. But 75 watts is plenty, especially if you have some speakers that have a high sensitivity. I replaced this amplifier with a 6-channel right now, an audio control 6-channel. You can watch my other video, and it's a great amplifier as well. I just needed the extra 2 channels, and I needed the extra power. But I will say, guys, before this amplifier here, I had a Nemesis Audio, and it was installed by a local shop here in Dallas. They did some shoddy work, which is the reason I got into audio. So I'm not a great audiophile by any means, like I've said before, but I learned a lot of things because my system sounded like crap, and I paid a bunch of money. When I started looking into the install, I saw where they cut a bunch of corners, just with crimping stuff, you know, cutting the speaker wires when they could have just used connectors and not cut the OEM speakers. This was a newer truck, you know, it was a 2018. You're talking about a couple of years ago. That's basically a brand new truck. So long story short, they installed a Nemesis Audio 5-channel amplifier, and it was 65 watts at 4 ohms. The problem is that I wasn't actually getting 65 watts at 4 ohms. Yes, the speakers were loud, but that's because they put coaxial 3-way focals in my front doors and disconnected my dash, so I had no front stage. All my sound was coming to my legs. It sounded like trash. And yeah, it sounded like they got loud, but the problem is that amplifier didn't actually put the 65 watts. This amplifier here, just by switching it, both had the same or similar almost power. Let's say this one had 15 more watts, right? Well, or 10 more watts, I'm sorry. This one had 10 more watts at 4 ohms. I hook it up. Not only does it sound cleaner, I don't have no more hissing or static or distortion when not playing music or at low volumes. Even with the gain set correctly, that thing would hiss and hum, and you know, I put the RD amplifier in there and it sounded 10 times better. Not only did it sound louder, but it also sounded like just cleaner. Like it had more warmth and feeling to it. So people, well, why would you pay that much for an amplifier? You know, maybe a sub amp, okay, I get it, you know, it's bass, but on a 4-channel or an amplifier that's going to be feeding full range signal to your speakers, you're going to want something that's going to translate that sound and music efficiently, and also you want something that's actually going to give you the sound that you're looking for. Now, they do make better amplifiers than this. I'm not saying that. They make some high-res amplifiers as well that play up to 30Ks and 40Ks, but they're probably not as cheap as this one. So yes, if you like this and can't afford the RD, maybe you could go with the JD if you don't care about having the wires come in from both sides. This one also, maybe you can get the JL stacking kit, and you could stack 2 of these together if you needed 4 channels, and then maybe use a DSP. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I like making this content for y'all, but it would help me if y'all subscribe, so I know people are actually watching these videos and not wasting my time. But I love making content for y'all. I hope y'all enjoy this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.